Well, good morning, family. It is 7 minutes past the hour. Yours truly, Joe Dupree, in the building. It's another episode of hashtag Truth Be Told on this 27th day of December. It is Freedom and Fun Friday. For he that the sun sets free is free indeed. I know you see me, but I ain't by myself. We go three. 1, 2, tree. 1, 2, tree. We go tree the hard way. Tree the hard way. First, let me bring on the art therapist, the life strategist, the speaker, the author herself. You know her. There she is. Sister Jax is in the building. Good morning, Sister Jax. How you doing?
I'm doing great, Joe. I had an awesome night last night. So I'm doing phenomenal. We had a great time in New York City, my husband and I. The Kwanzaa Film Festival was at the Schomburg in Harlem. So it was amazing. I mean, there were some amazing films, amazing people, my people. So it was phenomenal. So we had a beautiful, beautiful evening.
She did her thing. She from Brick City, but she was in Ooh-Wah Diddy. She was in that place called New York City. And speaking about New York City, we are not who we are without the residential New Yorker, the native New Yorker himself. Let's bring him on. You know him. He is our brother from another mother. He is from the Open Line Online and keeping it real with Reverend Al Sharpton. 1075 WBLS, New York City's very own brother. Fatim is in the building. Good morning, sir.
Buenos dias.
What's
And
happening?
happy second day of Kwanzaa, Kuchi Jakalia, self-determination. What does self-determination mean?
Come on, bring it. Bring
To
that phone.
define and name ourselves as well as to create and speak for ourselves. And Sister Jax, yes, you reached out and you sent me a little video. I think you know this sister. And of course you do. I knew Sister Salam. That is Yusuf Salam's mother. And of course I met her before Yusuf because Yusuf is one of the former Central Park Five, and now one of the exonerated Five and New York City Councilman, Dr. Yusuf Salam. So yes, you took a picture out there yesterday. The Schomburg is a phenomenal place to go for research and programs. Their auditorium, I love the way the seating goes up like that, and it's just the acoustics is very well.
Yes.
You had a great time. I'm glad that you shared that. Glad that you got out there to a Kwanzaa celebration out there. And let me just say this.
Go ahead.
I just want to say this real quick. I don't mention this, and I mentioned Dr. Maulana Karenga creating Kwanzaa, but I would be amiss not to say that James Mtume was part of that creation of Kwanzaa, because he was part of the US organization. He was on the West Coast at that particular time, and he was a member of the US organization. So I want to make sure that Dr. Karenga, of course, gets that kudos, but I always talk about the late, great, we called him the third answer to James Mtume. He was also one of the originators of Kwanzaa.
Amen. Amen. And you know what? The Schomburg, it is a beautiful place. Now, I haven't been there in years. So when I was in graduate school, I had my grad classes in Philly every Saturday at Lincoln University. But then I had we called it field classes. I had them at the Schomburg. So, you know, I was the chief of staff at an agency in Newark called Babyland. And I was busy, running that organization. I had 2 small children. And, every Wednesday after working full time, I would have to, hop on the, go downtown to Penn Station, hop on the train, shoot over to the Schomburg and go to classes for hours. And I haven't seen it since it's been renovated. And it looks so beautiful now. And it's just an honor to even be in such, a historic, location. I mean, even the Harlem Children's Hospital across the street, when I was in grad school, they were doing construction, there. Right in front. So it's beautiful to see it all done. And there were so many gems that were dropped last night. There were such powerful people in the room. And my husband and I were honored to go because there's a young lady who actually invests in a lot of my husband's programs. And she provides resources to take young children around the world and also to take them camping and hiking. And she saw my husband several years ago while she was with her husband on a hike with about 50 Black men. So seeing them, in the suburbs, in the woods, hiking, you know, was phenomenal. So she was asking the brothers, who's in charge of this? So they went to my husband and they connected. So she, you know, continues to invest. And what my husband does, she wants me to lead up some other big women's empowerment events that she's doing soon. She'll be going back to France and, you know, traveling around the country and taking children from the inner city. She lives in Harlem. And it was dope to be invited to such a prestigious event last night. And I look so forward to partnering up with them.
Let me just say about the Schomburg real quick.
Yeah,
that's awesome. First of all, that's awesome, Sister Jax. I mentioned the Schomburg, and just to say to Michael Keith, a lot of folks don't know, I'm raised in Brooklyn, moved when my oldest daughter, Fatia, was about 2 years old to Queens, and raised my children in Queens. But between 2012 and 2015, I lived in Harlem. We lived in Harlem. And I lived on 2235 or 2235 Fifth Avenue. So it's 135th Street, right across the street from the school, adjacent across from Chase Bank, but right up the next block was Harlem Hospital. And right across the street from Harlem Hospital is what? The Schomburg. And then on that next block to the left is the famous YMCA up there. Yeah. So it was rich with Harlem up there. And boy, we could talk about Harlem, you know, everything, you know, from 125th Street being famous from the Apollo Theater. But people don't know that there was Mr. James Beatty. I think it was James Beatty.
Oh, yeah.
Mr. Beatty, they owned the Apollo. And when I was out there with Reverend Sharpton attorneys, Arthur Maddox and C. Vernon Mason under the United African Movement, this is before the National Action Network, we used to hold functions at the Cotton Club. So I was always in the famous Cotton Club of Harlem. And it's just rich with history. It's so sad that the gentrification has taken away the richness and of the Black culture of Harlem there. So you miss out, but it still has the gems of Harlem, but it's not the same Harlem of yesteryear.
It's not. And you know what? Even at the event last night, I loved seeing all my sisters dressed modestly. You know what I'm saying? My sisters, everybody had on their African, you know, garments, and they just look beautiful. My brothers had on their African garments, and just being there rich with pride. You know, most of the sisters had their little locks flowing, and I'm like, we have such a beautiful, beautiful people. And it was such a joy to just be around them. So there was a couple little notes that I took, because a couple little nuggets kind of resonated with me after all the awardees, received their awards for their community impact and all that stuff. So one of the main words actually was impact. So they wanted us to really, you know, introspect and really look and reflect, like, what is your impact, right? Another one was, you know, about asking yourself, why are we here? Right? Why are we here? Another sister said that a system built on free labor, and we are the laborers, right? Someone also said, your thoughts are your energy, right? Your thoughts are energy. Another question they said is, who are you influencing? Right? Who are you influencing? Because if you're not influencing somebody, like, what is your life worth? Because we should all be here to influence someone, right? And they also resonated and continue to say, while you are on your journey, don't let anyone disrupt your joy. So I thought those were some great words. We talked about unity. There's a Swahili proverb that actually says, unity is strength, division is weakness. So it was just some great jewels that we all can just pull from and grow and learn and to be better, you know? But who are you influencing, and what is your impact?
That is a good question, a great question. What is your impact? And some people are just, you know, and I understand being humble and humility, but what is your impact? You know, you have to sit there and think a minute, what is your impact? And then you have to drill down. And I just was thinking, you know, and that's a question out there to the people in the chat. Some of us don't know you. We know you, but don't know you. Meaning that we know you in the chat. We may converse with you, but we may not know you. What is your impact? You know, there may be some things that you're doing that we don't know about, things that you have done, people you have touched, people you communicate. Put it in the chat. What is your impact? It's not about, take a bow this morning. It's
Yeah.
Fun Freedom Friday. Take a bow. This is where you can take a bow. Don't feel like, I don't want to talk about it. Seems like I'm bragging. No, take a bow, because sometimes the best person to tell your story is you. Tell your story. So I want to hear, what is your impact? No matter how small you may think it is or how big it has been, what is your impact? So
That's right.
I'm going to throw that over to Joe, and I want to hear what.
Real quick, there was a film that they showed last night, right? And I loved it. And they had different people, throughout Harlem, just like random people telling about their lives, their stories, right? And how they've overcome. And it was so ironic, because that's what we talk about. Everybody has a story. You ain't the only one with trauma, drama, whatever. Everybody has some sort of story, right? So we can't continue to think that we're just the only ones that have been through something, right? So they had this one young lady. She said when she was 19 years old, she was at a party and was shot in the neck. And now she's in a wheelchair, right? She's paralyzed from the shoulders down. Okay. And, cute little young sister. And now she's an artist and she paints, but she paints with the paintbrush in her mouth. She painted an amazing portrait of Tupac, Nicki Minaj, so many other people. And she said, you know what? I'm not going to let myself just sit in this wheelchair and not do anything. Every day I got to get up and do something. So she said, I can't use my hands anymore. I can't walk anymore. So I'm going to paint. And to see the sister put that paintbrush in between her mouth, her lips, and her teeth, and, do the strokes like that and paint some amazing, portraits of people's bodies and, everything. It's so profound, and she was saying like what I say, like, no excuses. You just got to do it. You just got to do it. She's sitting there and she's creating artwork that is getting to celebrities, actually. There was another young man, he lost his leg and he's a clothing designer now and makes t-shirts and stands out on the block in Harlem selling cool t-shirts with like really like cool sayings and stuff like that. And he was in a domestic violence relationship and is now raising his children, but it's just powerful. Like I say, we all been through something. So it's all a matter of what you're going to do in the morning when you get up. How are you going to maximize your 24 hours? Because getting up is not enough. We got to continue to push and press on.
Right. So what, and that's amazing, and those are the stories that inspire and motivate you, especially when you're not behind the 8 ball, because those are the situations that you have to sort behind the 8 ball. But I want to raise that and keep that on a positive note. And I want to start with Joe and then come back to you, Jax, and then I'll go myself. I didn't know this was going to be a question, but let's go for it. I want to hear from people in the chat. What is your impact? Joe, what do you think some of your impact has been during your life or through your life or what you're doing now? What is your impact, my brother?
Man, I just try to.
Oh, you're muted, Joe.
Somehow your voice, your mic went out.
It's still out.
Went out. It's still out. Okay. All right, so go ahead.
I can see in the chat. Yesterday, I couldn't see the chat at all because I was doing the podcast from my cell phone. So when I'm on my cell phone on the podcast, I cannot see the chat at all. So today I can see it. So I'll read some of the comments. So Darlene Bryant says, my impact was my work with children as a teacher for 30 years. Amen, my sister. Amen. 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 I mean, it is not easy working with children. I commend you. I commend you. I commend you. I mean, when I do my workshops and go into these classes and even do story times with the kids, I'm in that classroom. I'm like, phew, I give it up I salute all the teachers because I said, Lord have mercy. I cannot imagine doing this for 8 hours a day. I get in, get out in an hour, get my check and I'm gone, but I still always go back and spend time with the kids. But to do that every day tirelessly, and they spend so much of their own money because, all those budget cuts and stuff. So teachers are so tireless and, we appreciate you. Salutes.
What is your impact, Jax? Or you want me to go?
You can go and then I'll go.
You sure?
Okay. I'll go, Fatim. I'll go. So I would say my impact is inspiring and uplifting others from the top of the totem pole all the way to the bottom. I don't care who you are, what you do, how much money you have, whatever your status is in the community or no status. I love them all. You know, I love them all, and I will give my last. Literally, I will give the shoe. I will give the shoes off my feet, the clothes off my back, whatever I can do to help to encourage and inspire others. I think my impact also is to be a mom. Like, I love absolutely being a mom and a wife, and I think I've made a great impact, you know, doing both. But I remember as a little girl, 2 years old, standing in my driveway, and I just could still see, when I think about it, I see my little knobby knees and my little white Bobo sneakers. And I remember looking up to the sky and looking down and said, when I grow up, I want to help people. And I just, you know, I didn't know in what way, but I just always knew I wanted to help people, because there's so much sadness and, you know, sorrow. And, you know, so as a kid, a lot of that was around me. And I made that decision as a little girl, like, I am not going to let that ensnare me or get me. So I just always tried to push and say, I just want to help people. So I decided to go into a career, get the degree, and get the, you know, skills and certificates and everything else I needed to get, to go with my heart already. Because my heart was, even away at boarding school, I just always was a helper, and to be of service. Charity is key for me. So I just love charity, and I just love helping people, especially those that want to receive the help. Like you said yesterday, Fatima, everybody don't want it. Everybody's not going to take it. So those that want to receive it, your sister Jax, I'm here to give it. But you ain't going to suck me dry, but I'm here to give it.
Gotcha. So Joe is back, but I'm gonna go and then I'll throw it back to Joe. So I'll bring up a couple of things. I'm gonna bring up the reason why I asked that, because we can all broad brush something, but what are some of the specifics? And I think about the impacts that kind of touch me. So I'm gonna throw out a name because I'm gonna invite this brother on. He is a big time entertainment attorney now. His name is John Rose. He grew up across the street, took my daughter, Fatia, to the prom, her high school prom, picked her up in a Bentley. He was smart young man. He had his uncle drive that night. He didn't tell me why. I didn't think about it till later. He was like, I was toe up at 18. He was toe up, you know, but he had to make sure that he was safe and my daughter was safe. You understand? And it's interesting. He took my daughter and he didn't go to her school, but he had that swag. And he was chasing my daughter since damn near 5th grade, you know, and the impact that, you know, and he had a mother and father. But when the day he came to my house, when he graduated from a scholarship from Hampton University for football, he's a Kappa man. He pledged and crossed the line as a Kappa. He came to the house and he was sitting there. We were waiting for my daughters to come with from wherever they were, because Hanifa was in the hospital, and he sat across in the couch from me, and he said, I'm glad that you're here by yourself. Flamboyant dude, you know? And he said, I want to come over here and thank you. Me for what, bro? I used to get on your butt. You know, I stayed on you. He said, yeah, but you walked the walk and you looked the language. It was times where people in suits, and you wore suits too, but you came to me with your hat backwards, and you showed me I could be better. You made me who I am, even though, like I said, he had a mother and father. Let's don't get that twisted. His mother and father were in his life, but he said, I played a role because I never gave up on it, and I continued to push. That day, I became choked up, and tears came on. I was just floored for a young man to say, that's impact. That's impact. You think that when you get with someone in your life, like Hanifa, and your partner, your wife, your husband, fiance, or whatever, life partner, however you say it is, you say these things, but do you have an impact because you get married to them and you do what you're supposed to do? Hanifa, I'm giving you what Hanifa said. She said, and her parents said, we never thought that anybody would step up for my daughter to deal with sickle cell. I had no knowledge of sickle cell. And I stepped up and not advocate only for her, but other sickle cell patients. So when I mentioned other sickle cell people that passed, they became part of our life because I advocated for them as well. You understand? I just didn't advocate for Hanifa. Then as I was in the hospital, I remember this one is a little tough. I had a little sister, well, not my blood sister, another young lady named Ebony. She had sickle cell and she passed. And me and her mother went back and forth. She told me in my age of 29, I was too old to be dealing or in her daughter's life as a grown man. And her daughter was like 16. I respected that mother. I respected her. And I might have told y'all this story before. I hung up the phone. Maybe a half hour later, she called me back. And she got on the phone and she said, I changed my mind. I talked to some of the nurses at the hospital and come to find out you have been advocating for my daughter from day one. And I didn't even know that. Impact. Another girl on her deathbed with cancer, pediatric floor on a Saturday. Me and Hanifa were out because she was pregnant. I got a call, get to the hospital. This girl wants to see you. I had to get Hanifa home. I had to. She was pregnant. I had to get her home. By the time I got to the hospital, it was too late. But the impact I had on these folks' lives, that's what I'm saying. An impact, making a difference, taking the time out with these young children to laugh, to talk with them, to treat them like they are young adults. And not treat them like they're sick, but to treat them as they're individuals. Impact. Bridge builder. You talked about helping people. I learned early I wanted to help people. But how, Jax, how? Producer became the best thing ever for me because I was able to connect people. I was able to connect them and hand them over to Brother Mtume, Bob Slade, James Mtume, Reverend Sharpton, Reverend Jackson, Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, and others to make a difference in their life. That's what I look at impact, is trying to put a smile, trying to make a difference in people's life. And sometimes it's the sacrifice we do. But you got to realize that sometimes we touch people that can make their day, make their life, make their week. And that's some of the impact. I'm not sitting here trying to write my life story, but that's what I'm talking about. Impact.
And Fatima, that's so beautiful. I love those stories. And, when I think of impact, right, I also think, about me being born. I always say born on the heels of heartache, right? I was born in 1976. My brother had a twin sister that passed away in 1975. So my parents did not want more children, right? My mom especially, she was like, I'm done. So I was born, like my dad was angry. My sister died of cancer at 4 years old, right? And, my dad cursed God, was angry and wanted to give up and, all the other stuff that you would think comes along with it. So my dad said, wait, I can't give up. God blessed me with 2 kids. So I still got to live for this other one, this son, right? So he continued on. My mom didn't want any more kids. She ends up getting pregnant with me the next year, right? So I would always hear stories or see pictures of my sister around the house. And, my family even said there were times when I was a little girl where I'll be looking and playing. They like, who you playing with? And I'd be like, I'm playing with the little girl, right? So presumably that could have been my sister, right? I don't know. And then after they start telling me the stories, I'm like, wait, I do remember, playing with a little girl, right? But she wasn't there, but she was there. So I knew growing up that how dare I not do something with my life and impact others? Because guess what? I didn't have to be here. So being that I was prayed for to be here by my daddy and God brought me forth, he already knew he was going to plant me in my mother's womb. God already knew he was going to take my sister away, but he gave me something. He gave my family something else, another little pain in the butt sister, right? So it's so ironic because lately I've been researching my name. So my name is Jacqueline. So when I get to the etymology of the name Jacqueline, it's actually a Hebrew name, right? Which I had no idea. So Jacqueline is a Hebrew name and it actually means supplanter. So I didn't even know what supplanter meant. So I said, let me look that up. Supplanter means in place of. Right? So that hit my spirit. I was like, whoo, I like broke down like, dang. So I can't let my life be. That's why I go so hard because I ain't have to be here. So I try to take every minute and every moment to impact my people, to wake my people up, to love on my people. But y'all know Jack's gonna give tough love and it might not feel good at first. But once you get it and it clicks, you're like, yo, that chick had my back. She wanted the best for me. And so supplanter, that's your sister Jax.
Yeah.
Amen. Amen. Ring the bell. Round of applause. Give it up. That part.
Yo, now back to you.
What's your
Impact,
impact,
brother.
Joe?
I mean, I just try to be a living epistle. I talked to an elder yesterday. I just want my work to speak for me. You know, I do so much. I don't think they make awards, trophies, and I really don't like talking about it that much. I just do.
Take a
It's
bow
just me.
today, brother. Take a bow.
I just do though. I just, folks don't know all the stuff I do. You know,
Tell-
I took on
Tell us.
in my 50s, coming from a place of comfort, being from behind microphones. I decided in my 50s to put a uniform back on. When I got out of a uniform, I did 28 years in the United States military. I had been wounded in combat. I had did my service to this country and to my people. But at age 50, I decided to put a policeman's uniform on after criticizing the police for years. For years. I was on the Popo's tail on my radio show. I was like, man, I dare you. Until somebody said, why don't you join us and see what we do? And then you'll see that maybe you can help from the inside instead of being on the outside criticizing. When I decided to do these podcasts, I didn't ask nobody for no financial help or anything. God told me, man, do this. God told me I'm going to send you to folks. God told me don't ask them for nothing. God said, put them on. Let's talk. Let's get the word out to our people. And no, we might not have we might not now have Shannon Sharpe numbers. We might not now have Breakfast Club numbers. However, I know I did exactly what God told me to do. And, to see the people in the chat engaging, to see the people who can't log into the chat for whatever reason, but to see right now the 532 people who are watching lets me know that we have chatter that matters in conversation for every situation, and what we say is relevant. And we're not here, as I said, because it was downloaded to me. This is not my saying. I literally received this from on high. We're not here to tell you what to think or how to think. We are here to tell you to start the process of thinking. So my impact is I could have been a 57-year-old kick back, relaxed, and chilling right now. Instead, I decided to put myself back on the front line. Last year, this time, I was the chief of minority affairs. Actually, it was last year on this day that I got the call from the new administration that got voted in that my service was no longer needed. And guess what? After further review and looking back on that, I was bitter, I was sour, I was upset. Not because I lost the job. It was the manner I lost the job. I think if a person is going to dismiss you from any of your honorable service, they should look you in the face and dismiss you. You shouldn't get a phone call. You shouldn't get an email. You shouldn't get a surrogate walking in your office telling you, hey, man, it's been a pleasure. No, the person in charge should look at you and say, thank you for what you've done. However, I don't need your services anymore, and I appreciate you. That alone can cover up a multitude of issues. And listen, this might be for somebody right now leaving out of 24, going into 25. How you leave a thing has a lot to do on how you enter a thing. How you leave a thing has a lot to do on how you enter a thing. Leave a thing with honor, with respect, with you standing 10 toes down and tall, where you can walk into your new thing saying, what I left it in a manner where it was not left ugly. So I don't have to walk into my new thing understanding that karma can come back at any given time. And what I tell folks, things that you do will come back to you. Things that you do will come back to you. So you can sit there and be all, I got the right, they need this. But sometimes you need to say, let me leave this situation in peace. Where when I do come into my new situation, regardless what comes my way, I won't feel like karma came back to bite me in the tail because of the way I left the thing back in 2024. I mean, right now we've got a few days left, and I'm not waiting for 2024. I speak blessings, hope, prosperity. I speak victory right here, right now on this 27th day of December. And I can say this. My impact has been, and though I never use the word because other folks use it, I have been a connector. I have been conjunction junction. What's your function? I have been a conduit. I have been a person who put people with other folks, open up platforms for other folks, put microphones in front of other folks, started other folks off on their careers, started folks on their way, gave other folks ideas on how to win and be productive for themselves and for our communities. I just want to say the following. I'm thankful to everyone who has ever tuned in to anything that I've done or anything that I was a part of, because I'm telling you, I don't tell you my position in the game. Don't have to. I just try to be out there being a doer. As I tell folks, don't listen to what I say, watch what I do. And ask yourself, is what I'm doing in your eyes something that will better our people, our neighborhoods, our youth, our elders, and be an honor to the ancestors? If so, follow me. If not, find your own path and take that path.
Great. That's great, Joe. And I'm going to come back to something, but since we had it in the chat, that's great. That's great. It's something you said I will come back to, but since I put this out to all of us, including the chat, Jack's read one comment. I'm going to read a couple more. Rhonda Hairston says, working with children in a 21st century program and working with single women with children for 20 years, difficult. Only I saw a difference / a change in the thinking. That was the reward. Jessica Dewberry says, my current impact is caregiving. Started 10 years ago with my mother, then 7 years ago with my older cousin, and then sister, then with my nephew, and now with my father. Years before then, my impact was with my union, advocating for the members and my community, serving on my community board. Prior to all of that, my impact was in the field of architecture and city planning, helping property owners achieve their goals. A lot of responses to beautiful stories, to Jax, to Joe. James Vincent said your works does speak for you. Sister Jax responded to some of those comments. KC wrote, I took in so many children that were having trouble at home, was able to give them the love and attention they were missing. They still call me mom. I took care of my father as he was fighting cancer. As hard as it was, I do it all over again. As a nurse at a psychiatric hospital, I was able to make a positive influence on many patients. They come get me from another ward because I would sometimes be the only person the patient would listen to. The ward I worked on was the hospital inside the hospital. The patients were not only mentally ill, but also had medical issues. Wasn't easy, but I love making a difference. As a single mom, I busted my ass to take care of my daughter and so many others. As I continue to go down here. So I want to make sure, because I put this question out to all the folks here, and they responded. Jessica Dewberry said, Casey, wow, that's a lot of impact to be so nurturing, not only to children and young adults, but also to the mentally ill, which is difficult by itself. Awesome sauce. So let me just say this about Sister Casey. I'm not going to go into her personal, but I met Sister Casey, not as Casey at the time, through Sister Jax on my radio show. Did not know as when I can reconnected with Casey through you again, Sister Jax, and she happened to be with you that day, and your mom's kind of pulled you out the car. So that's how me and Casey kind of connected or reconnected. I didn't know that she was a guest on our show. You told me her story, and like you said, we all have to push through. We all have to push through. And for those, like you said, you didn't have to be here. Casey knows her story. She doesn't have to be here. You understand? But for whatever the reason, there's a purpose. There's a purpose. If you believe it's divine or if you believe it's inner, the bottom line, there's a purpose. And in that purpose that you can look back, and those words that were put here by those and those that didn't share, but have had an impact, you've had a purpose and made a difference. So look how important your life has been, even through those difficult times and struggles. So I just want to say that to you, and Sister Jazz, because you're the one, and the type of show we did that day. I'm not going to go into that show. Very difficult show to do, but it was a show that we had to do because there are people, when we talk about depression and going through challenges, we think that people just may sit on that couch or don't turn on the TV, but sometimes people try to end it. And that makes a difference. And that's why I say sometimes our actions mean more than sometimes our words, because sometimes we got to get to people, because you know what? They have heard so many words that it becomes repetitions that they don't hear it no more. It's tuned out. You ever had the television on and looking at it and don't hear it because you tuned it out? Your mind is somewhere else. And that's what people tend to do. They tune people out sometimes. And that's why people can't get to them. So when you ask, not going to tell you political, why you don't vote, why you don't do this, because people have tuned it out for whatever their reason. So you got to get to them, find out what that reason, and try to put a spark back into them to reignite that fire and desire in them, because that furnace has gone out.
So I see that James Vincent also put up, what he felt his purpose was. Would you read that while I am putting in the green room? I'm going to do something a little different today. So that out there.
Yeah. I got to come back to something Joe said. James Vincent said, mine would be following what God has also told me, to be a positive influence and letting people know that we can always be better than the situation we are in, helping people change for the better. I do this through the platform that Joe helped me with, Effect Ministries. That's what James Vincent said. I just want to go back because Joe said we're setting up the green one. I don't want to go here. So Joe talked about karma and how you leave something. There's a couple of places I told him to kiss my ass. Okay?
You did, T.
Damn right. You don't come to me when my mother's on her deathbed, laying up in the hospital in a coma and being sensitive to me, and you think I'm going to swallow that? Sorry, I'm not the one. I'm not turning the other cheek. I'll turn the other cheek at time. But at JP Morgan, when I left JP Morgan, it was about to be that. But something else happened. And what happened is they asked me to come train some people in Somerset. And when they did that, they moved my location from 345 Park Avenue to Somerset, New Jersey, over 30 miles. Once they move your location over 30 miles, you can go and ask for a severance package. I asked for that severance package. And I was about to tell them where they could take this job. But in that 2 week training, the people out there, which some I knew, some I didn't know, because it was a conglomerate of people coming from different locations, because it was a massive data center there. And I trained the people, and they were beautiful. And then there was managers I didn't know, but they heard about me through another manager. And I didn't like this dude. I didn't like this dude. I didn't like this dude and didn't like this dude. But when I found out that dude's mother passed, I picked up the phone and I called them, because there's a human side in me.
Right.
There's a human side in me. I said what I had to say. I said it from my heart. I think he was surprised, probably a little shocked that I called him, but it was the right thing to do, because he got me to respond to him the way he dealt with me. And I'm not the kiss ass type of person. And I don't kiss ass black or white. But when it's white, it's that subordinate that I can't, you know what I'm saying? So anyway, the day I was supposed to leave JP Morgan Chase, I went in to sign my papers. When I went in, I just tried my ID badge, because they usually take that out. My ID worked. So I came in. They wasn't ready to see me. I sat by my desk. I said, let me try to log on. They supposed to snatch my log on. I'm in a sensitive area. I'm in a sensitive. I work for data center. I could get on the computer. What the hell going on here? I'm on the computer. So then they come out. Oh, you're here. So they called me in and they said, you know, this is a rarity. We heard about you from so and so, but your actions out here doesn't match that. And then we talked to Glenn Ferguson. Glenn Ferguson was my brother, who still probably is at JP Morgan Chase. And we find out through the other manager's actions and now watching you and hearing about you, that you're not what he said you were. I said, I appreciate that. He said, this is a rarity. You came here to sign papers to leave. We created another job for you.
Amen.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
That's favorite.
Wait. Hold on. Hold on. I'm going to say something that y'all don't usually hear me say. I sat there. I had to make a decision on the spot. I considered this was if I didn't do what I was getting ready to do, this would have been my third strike. I said to them, this is what I said. I said, thank you, but unfortunately I can't do it. I said, I can't do it because I said, I don't know if you know the story in the Bible, but if you know the story in the Bible, Jesus said, I must go so the comforter can come. Because if I don't go, the comforter will not come. So I said that if I don't move on this, then the comforter will not come in my life. I prayed and asked God for something. I asked that I wanted to get into radio full time. I did not have the job. I was working part-time. Signed the papers, walked out, went home, told Hanifa. Hanifa looked at me like, you sure you did the right thing? They created another job for you. You walking in away, even though you got a severance package, you know you did a severance package with Citibank and it ran out and you didn't have a job. I'm not a holy roly like that. I just said, I had to do what I had to do. That was November. We were in South Carolina on visiting. I got a call as we was walking in Super Walmart in Walterboro for the job for executive producer for Reverend Al Sharpton's show.
Go ahead, Fatim.
January 28th will be 19 years, 2025. You don't hear me say those stories like that, but that was the truth. I prayed for that. And God answered my question there. And I put in the work and I believed in myself, but I had to step out on faith. Was there fear? Fear, of course. Fear was there, but I had a severance package. So my benefits was intact and my severance. So I already had a game plan to do whatever I had to do, whatever type of job. So my severance don't run out without me having a job. But look at that favor right there. So I just want to share that.
And that's nothing but, even though you depended on everything that you brought to the table, I'm glad that you said you prayed and you recognized that with everything you brought to the table, you still wasn't big enough and bad enough that you said, I can do this on my own. And that's why I tell people a lot of times, I have realized in my life, like I told you yesterday about my homeless situation, I was mad at God. I didn't speak to God. I didn't go to church 6 months after my homeless situation. After I got blessed, I didn't show up in the edifice. I didn't show up to God. I didn't read the Bible. I didn't open the Bible one time in 6 months. I can promise you that. But somewhere in my spirit, when I finally came to the place of realizing how wrong I was, and that just like sometimes with our children do some dumb stuff, and we have to ostracize them for a season. Doesn't mean we don't love them no more. Doesn't mean that all of a sudden they're not our child. It just means you got to get over there. And I got to feed you, as country folks say here in Louisiana, Tennessee, and in the South, I got to feed you with a long handle spoon. You got to know how it feels to be cold outside. Because right now, you know how it feels to be real comfortable, but you don't know how it feels when it's cold outside. So I'm going to have to let you stay in the cold for a minute to get yourself together. And once I believe that you've got yourself to a certain place, we can probably reconcile and come back together. But you got to be over there for a season. I knew that I had been somewhere for a season. You know, there's many great parables and stories in that book we call the Bible. One is about the prodigal son, the son that said, hey, give me mine, I'm gone. The father didn't really want to give him his because he knew it wasn't his time, but he gave him his anyway out of love. And sometimes you give yours what you need to give them out of love and let them go.
Mm-hmm.
Because trust you, most folks with common sense, when all hell break loose and ain't nowhere else to go, they gonna find their way back home.
Amen.
They gonna figure a way. Wait a minute. I'm here with the pigs eating slop. I'm here going through hell. I'm here. Let me hold it. Wasn't there a place that everything was all right? Let me find my way back. And listen, you just got to be at a place. So many times, our biggest problem is we want forgiveness for all that we've done, but we don't want to give forgiveness when people do us. As I move forward into these final plays of the fourth quarter of my life, I want to be able to give just as much forgiveness out as forgiveness I have received.
There's gonna be some kiss my backside before.
I'm just saying, and don't get me wrong. Don't get me wrong, brother Fatim. I'm pretty sure in the way you operate, and like I said, you do you, I do me, and I'm not saying this is for everybody. Just for me right now, I'm fine.
I'm just being a little funny. I'm just saying
I am, but right.
I'm just saying everybody deals with it differently.
I get it, but you know, I have come to realize that there's a lot of times, and I'm gonna say it just like you say backside. I'm gonna say it because we got adults here. There's been times I want to look at folks and say, "Kiss my ass," and mean it from the bottom of my heart. But guess what? I look at them and I say, if I say that, just like a bullet, once I go bang, I can't bring it back. Is it really gonna make that big of a difference? So sometimes I say, no,
my chest ain't tight no more.
I'm not going.
Chest ain't tight no more.
I'm not going to squeeze this trigger because and the reason I say that, brother Fatim,
no, not real trigger. He's talking about, you know.
But the reason I'm not going this baby. The reason I'm not going to squeeze that verbal trigger is because my peace sometimes just mean too much for me, and sometimes I know this. Once I say it, I can't bring it back. And guess what? That might rise up against me again one day. Somebody might say,
it depends on what it is, Joe. You're right. You're right.
Didn't you? See, I'm just at the point in my life. Guess what? You can't misquote my silence. You can't misquote my silence. And guess what? Because you can't misquote my silence, you can't come back because I've seen it happen. It's happened to me. Listen, brother.
It happened to all of us.
Hold on. Brother Fatim, you just gave a testimony about you on radio. Let me give you my radio testimony. Some folks, you can talk to Skip right now. Your boy Skip Dillon. I think where's Skip at right now? Where's Skip at?
94.7 the block. Up the block.
94.7 the block. Skip will tell you. You can talk to him. You can talk to a couple of programmers out there. I'm probably one of the top 5 programmers in the United States of America when it comes down to running a radio station. Hands down. If you don't believe me, come test me now. Test me. You'll see. I run my own digital station. If you turn on 100 BLK right now, if you started listening to it, you'd be like, my God, this thing jamming. I know how to program. However, because I never had the opportunity to be an owner, I always worked for Caucasian folks that own Black radio stations. And I'm going to say this. I have not to this day met a Caucasian person running a Black radio station that was really concerned about Black folks in the Black community. They were concerned about their pockets.
That's right.
And they realized that they had a cash cow. And brother Fatim know this. I used to get into it with my former owner / GM, back a white guy who thought he knew everything about Black music because he was in love with Jeffrey Osborne and could sing woo woo woo. No, cracker, you are a prejudiced white man who was running a plant. I'm gonna say it, and he can call and test me right now, and I'll test him back. At the end of the day, just like when he called me a monkey and said it was cool to call me a monkey because that's how I was acting, I'm calling him a cracker because he's salty and was salty. And that's how I'm standing on business, like a cracker.
See what I'm saying, Jack? See what I'm saying?
Hold it. So, but here's the thing. Hold it. Here's the thing. What I come to learn with all that is it's not easy being a Black owner because folks will support you when you work for the white man. I can show you my ratings and the numbers when I was working for the Black station owned by the white man. And I can show you my numbers now that I own my own station. My biggest thing that I just want to see before I die is us start loving on us like we love on them. Right? And if we could just do that, I believe I can really die at full peace, because I would say, finally, I have seen my people wake up. Because the truth about it is, we love them. We love they ice water tastes better. They ice water is colder. The whole thing, and it's the same water and it's the same ice. But for some odd reason, Black folks just believe that it ain't right if it ain't coming from somebody who's white.
Exactly.
So wait a minute. Hold on. So we're gonna slow this down for a minute. So since Casey did this, I'm gonna go back to it because she says something in here. So I'm gonna go to it because I did not put it out, but she just chose to do it. And I think that, and Sister Jax knows this, and that's why I say sometimes we have to slow it down. I'm gonna read Casey what she wrote. He wrote, I did everything on knees so bad that as a child, I was told I'll be in a wheelchair by 20. I also was taking care of my daughter who battled cancer and so many other medical issues. She literally be in the ICU almost every other year. I've since broken my back. I've battled migraines since I was a child. The physical pain I was in made me attempt suicide at age 13. Anyone who thinks I'm not doing enough with my life now can, of course, KMA, that's the new acronym for kiss my backside, kiss my ass. You understand? The reason why I say this, because this is the reason why Sister Jax introduced me to KC when I brought her on the radio. And she came on not under her name at that particular time. I did not know her. I said whatever to protect her, I was fine with it. I didn't have a problem. We were talking about suicide, but I wanted to bring people on that attempted suicide. Casey wasn't the only one that was on that show that attempted suicide. It was a brother that also attempted suicide and survived it. And the reason why I did this, because I keep saying people talk, but then you need to talk to people who, you can't talk to the ones that were successful in it because they're gone. But I wanted to talk to the people that attempted to see what their mindset was. So you have to sometimes, other people that is contemplating this need to hear from an empathetic point of view versus a sympathetic point of view. Anyway, I read this. So Rhonda responded, says, I get it, sis. I too am not in the ass kissing business. You made it through, a living testament of what perseverance can do. Love you. Continue on your journey. Jessica says to KC, the stuff we have been through in life, sis, you owe no one nothing. No one can speak on your life with authority. You are a warrior. KC comes back to absolutely no, you don't subscribe to that BS. Your words touch my heart. I love and appreciate you. And then Rhonda, well, they got a long string. Jessica, yes, she is a warrior, and so are you. So many have given selflessly of themselves without a single thought. Blessings always to you both. And then Casey says to Jessica, Dewberry, thank you. The nerve of some people, especially when they haven't been through a fraction of what you've been through. And I just took the moment because I asked people to express themselves. I can't add or take away from their words because this is what they're feeling. And it's tough. And sometimes it's just tough. And I asked people to express this today because you never know. And I want to take the time. If they can take the time to open up like this, we have to take the time and read it and embrace you. You understand? Because a lot of us have not gone through what you have gone through. Now, Casey and Jax are related. So there's the personal connection there. That's on the outside or the inside. You understand what I'm saying? But for me and for us as a family, there are going to be the tough discussions that are going to be in front of us. And then sometimes the tough discussions that need to happen behind us. But as we get ready to close out 2024, I just think that sometimes we have to hear people, and sometimes that we listen, but we don't hear. And then we want to speak because we experience or see things. And then it's like we're hitting a brick wall when we communicate. Right. And I get it. But for now, I'm just not diving deep, but I had to say this and I had to stop for a moment. Because since Casey put that out there about that, I just want to take that time. So let me just ask Sister Jax, does she want to respond?
Yeah, Sister Jax.
I mean, it's nothing to respond about, really. I mean, I know, in life people go through things,
Right.
I respect that. Like we always talk about, we all go through things. And to make it clear on the podcast, when we speak, all three of us, when we speak, we're speaking collectively, right?
Right.
We're not speaking to anyone in particular. We're speaking to the
Right.
masses, right? So I think what happens sometimes, people kind of inflate their ego and think that they're the ones being spoken to, or the message is specifically to them, and it is not. It is whenever I speak, my message that I speak on this podcast, I'll speak it in my workshops, I'll speak it in my book signings, I'll speak it amongst other friends or family or within the community. Because it's the same message. It's the same message of empowerment. It's the same message of overcoming. It's the message of believing in yourself and working hard. It's not negating your story. Your story is your story. Everybody has a story. But my role is to continue to inspire and encourage others and speak life into people. And, I think sometimes people take it personal, like, oh, she coming at me. Ain't nobody think about you. This is about everybody. Like Joe said, sometimes we'll have 1,000, 2,000, 500, 300 people
Right.
in the chat.
Hold
This
it.
message is for everyone.
I'm looking at the folks in the chat. I'm looking at the folks watching. I don't know all these folks. I'm just, like I said, once again, we're not here to tell you how to think or what to think. We're telling you to think. And we will talk about whatever we decide to talk about. And I hate to say this, and I ain't trying to be ugly. And I stand on this because, once again, this all started really from an impartation to me. I ask folks at the end of the day, hit dogs holler. I holler sometimes when I hit. Let's call it what it is. I holler sometimes when I'm hit. Because sometimes folks say something, I go, ooh. And then, somebody who understands me, understands me, comes and say, man, Joe, you were wrong. My better half been known to pull me to the side and say, honey, it was said, they were right, you were wrong. Take that like a man. Sometimes you got to take your lick like a human being, like a grown-up, and stop always pointing at everybody else. No, either you tolerated it or you did it. You tolerated it or you did it. Out of that, maybe 10% of this stuff is cause of other folks and how they did certain things that made certain things fall in place, that made the dominoes drop. But 90% of everything that happened in your life, either you did it or you tolerated it. And just because, watch this, just because you did it and I know you didn't do it doesn't mean you didn't do it. Remember that. See, a lot of y'all go, you can't prove that. I don't have to prove that. You know what you did. You know if you lied. You know if you stole. You know if you were a bad person for a season. We all have. I've been bad for a season. I done did everything wrong on this earth except sell dope. I say it and I stand 10 toes down in it.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah, let me just say this real quick. I just want to say this real quick because I didn't say it the other day, and I had to because I paused in the chat, and I didn't say this the other day. And I first of all, let me just send an apology out to Eddie Bonnet because I did not reach out to him. He said he had pneumonia when he came on earlier this week, and I forgot to say it in the chat. Ricky Henderson, the legend Major League Baseball player, Hall of Famer, went into hospital for pneumonia and died. So when I heard the Eddie Bonnet, and of course we acknowledged him and wished him well wishes, I didn't reach out to the brother. Eddie, I apologize. It's just, I was dealing with my own personal stuff, and I apologize for that. And he says, and he came in the chat just now, and he said he's feeling better, but he said he thought he was checking out of here Monday or Tuesday this week. And I forgot to address this because a lot of people are coming up with pneumonia now. And my friend called me. I woke up this morning at 6:52 to a phone call from my boy, Tony. And I hear him in tears. Like, what's wrong? What's wrong? What's wrong, dude? But that's what we do. Call me anytime. That's what it is. And he was like, my stomach, I'm not feeling well. I've been doing this suffering since 12 o'clock last night, this, that, and the other. So I'm talking to him. And, I can't make the pain go away. I just want to make sure that he is not to the point that he has to go to the hospital. And there is some kind of stomach virus going around. So just to Eddie Bonnet, we take for granted that we hear that somebody's sick and we take for granted that they're going to get better. Nobody knew at first what Ricky Henderson passed of. We thought it might have been something internal, this, that, and other. It was pneumonia. These people walk around with walking pneumonia, don't even know they have pneumonia, and then go in the hospital and both lungs are filled with fluid. So,
Right.
or and if it becomes bacterial, some people become septic and it throws it into their lungs or whatever. So, Eddie, thank goodness, thank God, that's the way you roll. I have no problem saying that, my brother, that you are better. And I saw you in the chat. That's why I say sometimes we got to slow this down because sometimes we like to hear ourselves talk, but we do this for you all. And this is your day today.
Amen.
Amen. Amen. It's freedom. It's Freedom and Fun Friday. And just know that he that the sun sets free is free indeed. That's all I got to say about that.
Hey, and you know what, Joe, even that saying itself, when you really break that down, say it again, Joe, and let's break that down.
He that the sun sets free is free indeed. Sometimes you just got to be free. See, if you leave in 2024, hold on, I'm going to go to you, Jax. I got to say this, got to get this off my chest. A lot of y'all ain't letting stuff go. I said it yesterday. Fear is the mind killer. I don't know why you ain't letting it go. I don't know why that security blanket is so comfortable to you. I done had a lot of security blankets I had to let go. I had to let go. I'm getting ready to go into something next year. Everybody who knows me is looking at me saying, man, are you sure you want to do this? This could be very hurtful. In order for you sometimes to transition, you got to go through pain. You got to suffer. You got to, guess what? You ain't going to get big muscles sitting on your tail eating potato chips every day.
That's right.
You ain't going to hold it. You ain't going to get to better health, better living, sitting around talking about it and not moving. If you ain't out there walking, running, doing something every day to make your physical being better, you sitting around talking about it ain't going to do nothing. You sitting around debating about it ain't going to do nothing. It's time for some action. Like I said, I'm tired of all this. Wah. That's how y'all sounding to me.
Yeah.
Because all that talk, if you are who you say you are, just do it.
Exactly.
Guess what? You ain't got to tell me nothing. If you a good person, just be a good person. I'll see it sooner or later.
Absolutely.
You ain't got to debate it. You ain't got to tell me your good works. Just be a good person.
That's right.
And guess what? I'll see that sooner or later. Because he that the son, some of y'all don't want to be free. Y'all love y'all mess. Y'all mess validates y'all. That's why y'all won't let go of the mess. But as for me and my house, he that the son sets free is free indeed. And I'm free.
Amen. Amen. And you know what? It's no better feeling than being free, right? Being mentally free, emotionally free. Because when you hold on to anger and resentment and strife, it literally eats you alive. It can cause cancer. It can cause other physiological diseases, mental health issues. We know mental health is real, and it's a lot of people struggling with mental health, and the ability to process is not quite there, right? So it manifests, in other ways. And so we just got to pray for those that are battling, whatever demons they're battling, whatever mental health they're battling, whatever stressors, whatever things they cannot get over. Because some people, moving on is hard, for some, so I just ask God to pray for those and, to uplift those that are stuck and can't move on. And like you said, Joe, I love that saying, a hit dog will holler. So that's the truth. A hit dog will holler. So we're going to keep going.
I didn't holler because I was hit. Listen, I ain't talking about other folks. Let me talk about it. See why other folks saying you trying to throw shade on me. No, baby, I throw shade on myself because I can't fix you. I can't fix you even if I wanted to fix you. I can only fix me and only pray that I get fixed. Because sometimes we are comfortable in our mess. We got to just tell the truth. Y'all can sit here and lie to yourself all y'all want to. It's 11 minutes past the hour. But on this 27th day, on this Freedom and Fun Friday, as we get ready to go into 2025, guess what? There's a lot about me that right now, even in all that you might like about me, I still have a laundry list of stuff that I need to correct, and I need to correct today.
Amen.
Yeah. I listen to y'all. I just reached out to our sister that was on the show, Sister Dominique, because she had shared something. This is a tough time during the holiday season. And I don't, because sometimes you think about a person and then as the day go on, you forget. So I just reached out because, it's a tough time. She lost two of her sons. One son, a baby son, wasn't recovered from a drowning accident. And it's not easy, and so I just reached out as y'all were talking. So, but I think, it's fun, Freedom. I think we had the energy here. I think we need to pick this energy up a little bit, You know,
And real quick, and also you mentioned Dominique, and that's still like that story just still breaks my heart. Of her life with those babies. But also my husband actually just lost his cousin that he grew up with, just lost his 2 sons in Ohio in a tragic car accident. They were they were early 20s, but they were in a car accident and they both died. So when my husband was on the phone with his cousin the other night, and I'm hearing parts of the conversation, it's just breaking my heart because the dad was like, some moments I'm mad, some moments I'm angry, some moments I'm happy, some moments I want to give up, some moments I don't even know what I'm doing right now, So I cannot imagine. And, he was like, he was raising these boys and, he was talking about how close he was, with his children, but to lose them. And I think when we, I don't know his faith or his background or anything like that, but just that story is over with now. Moving on, when we try to, we could never imagine what it's like to lose a child, right? Unless you've lost a child. But when you have that faith to cling on to, right? And even like Sister Dominique and so many other women, that I've done workshops with and men that I've spoken to that have lost a child, but they have that faith and they may get angry and curse God at first. But when they come back to that faith, that ability to heal is so powerful. And even though they're going to have tough times, they're going to have sorrow, but those children are not ours. And when you put the Most High at the top of the totem pole, and that's what it's all about, and these children are just on loaner to us, it helps you to kind of get through that. So big ups to Dominique for her faith and for all those women whose children have had any illnesses and men whose children have been sick, but they have the ability to cling onto their faith to get them through it. So I'm so thankful that she has that.
And I'm glad because I went to her retreat. And I'll just say this real quick because I had a friend who came by yesterday and she shared something. I knew the story, but now I knew a little bit more of the background of the story. And, I never mentioned about energy, but I have to say this now because I've seen this over time and it can happen to anyone. Mm-hmm. When I say anyone, anything can do it, men and women, but I'm a man. Mm-hmm. And I try to tell women, when I say this, I'm not speaking to you as a child. But I know the mindset of men, and I know some women do this too. I mean, the mindset of a woman can do the same thing. Mm-hmm. When you honestly lose it, temporary insanity because something is done. And wait a minute, let me just say, shout out to Country Wayne. There's a lot of Country Wayne people in here. Shout out to Country Wayne because he finally brought this daggone story of Shayla and Anthony and his wife to a head, and right now they are acting their backsides off in this set. This is not a real story, y'all, but those that follow Country Wayne is very interesting, and it's about infidelity. And I'm gonna say this, y'all can comment on it or you don't have to. That's up to y'all. But down in Florence, South Carolina, 2 people were found shot dead about 2 weeks ago. Come to find out, the man killed his wife and then turned the gun on him.
Oh, Lord.
Now, come to find out, I got a little bit more of the backstory. Backstory is he stepped out on the marriage, right? Once she found out, she decided, oh, you can play that. He stepped out. I try to tell you, men look at sometimes their women as possession. He took her out. What I coming to find out, I got to be careful because I don't want this to get out, because I don't want them thinking this is. But from what I'm hearing is he didn't want to take her out, but he did want to shoot her. But something happened. He turned and he wound up hitting in a place where it was no point, point of no return. Mm-hmm. He was so distraught, he wound up taking himself out. And what I'm saying is, these are the games that we tend to play. I'm telling people, stop playing with other people. Mm-hmm. I'm really speaking to men and women right now, because if the shoe fits, you think you can play this game. I've told some women, you try to play the game and try to beat us men at some of the games you can't beat us at. And there's some games we can't beat you women at. But
Okay.
I'm telling you, it's not a joke. When you start getting into that type of energy, and I dealt with a guy, and I was 25. I was working at Citibank at 575 on Lexington Avenue, and I was talking to a brother, and he stepped out on his wife. We shooting the breeze, blah blah blah. Yeah. I turned to him. I said, brother, what if your wife did it? He said, I'll break her effing neck. I was taken back. I said, bro, you doing it? I don't give a damn what I do. She bet not do it. Right there, when he said that to me, I listened. I'm 26, 27. I listened.
Yeah,
Took
that's
it
something
back
from
to
the
some of my
80s.
elders. I took it back
That
to
ain't
some of my
happening like that
elders.
today.
Yeah, I took it back to some of my elders, older brothers, and they talked about that whole thing of the mindset, the possession, this, that, and the other. I'm telling y'all, careful. However you move, men and women, but especially, you think you're going to get a lick back on us? Sometime that lick get back on us, it ain't worth it. It's best that if you're not going to deal with it, if you going to stay, then stay and move on. Or if you're not, then leave. And if you can't leave, find a game plan to leave. You understand? Because some people don't want you to leave. And I'm telling you, you can get all the protections. You can do this and do that. If they want you, they're coming after you. So be careful with the games you play. If you want to dip and dab, don't get into no serious relationship and start lying and doing this. Men and women, stop that crap. If you want to dip and dab, then dip and dab and do your thing. But when you start getting in, this is mine, that, and you're doing this and doing that, I'm telling you, a woman will walk up beside you and stab you in the back, bro. Stop it. Stop it. That's my words there. Stop it.
And you know, Fatin, it's actually in scripture where it talks about a man that getteth the wife, getteth the possession, right? But then scripture also goes on to break it down. Like because obviously once you get a wife, just like if you get a car or whatever, if something's in your name, it gets your last name on it. So just like you get your wife, she gets your last name. Typically people put, like that, right? So yes, a woman to her husband is his possession. But God also further instructs you on how to nurture and care and love your possession and provide and protect your possession. So I think people just grab one piece, but don't grab the rest. And I think that's just what we have to do in life, is to not just grab at the first thing. We have to look at the entire picture. And instead of, thinking in a bubble, we have to step outside of the bubble and think more on a macro level. Because quite often we think on a micro level that's so small and minuscule that we just focus on that one little thing instead of really stepping back and looking at the broader picture. So that's a really important piece that we need to work on.
So I want to put out something 20 minutes past the hour. This is breaking news in the area I live in, but I'm sure that this might be happening somewhere else. So a person put out there that last night, while they were out and about celebrating the holiday season, they pulled up to a gas pump and they saw a $100 bill folded up in the card reader. Okay. This is in Lafayette, Louisiana. The person, because they work in the medical field, had some surgical gloves. So they kept noticing that nobody was touching the $100 bill. So they decided to go ahead and retrieve the $100 bill. So they double gloved up, retrieved it, and found out that it had a powdery substance on it. And noticed that there kept being a dark tinted window vehicle that kept driving by, just slowly watching, kind of creeping. She said she doesn't know what the powder was on the $100 bill, but the $100 bill was a fake $100 bill. It actually had on there, it was like play money. So y'all need to be careful and be cognizant in this season of games and tricks like this, because people are still out there trying to sex traffic people. You don't know what this powdery substance was. It could have been anything. It could have been fentanyl. And fentanyl, if touched on at the right time, gets into your bloodstream, it'll knock you out. It'll put you on.
It'll kill you.
It'll kill you.
You need Narcan right there to get you back, baby.
Right. So you don't know if this substance that was on the car, because she put it out there and she showed pictures, and I'm glad she did. And I'm going to share this to my page, because y'all need to be careful of what folks are up to, because everybody don't have good intentions. Some folks are out there and their whole premise and purpose is to scam you, is to hustle you, is to use you. And some cases, some folks want to traffic and kill you.
Absolutely.
You don't know if they're trying to harvest your organs. You don't know what's going on. You don't know where these folks are from or what's happening. And everybody talking about because certain folks have now, and don't get me wrong, I'm not trying to go political with this. I'm just saying the following. Pay attention to your surroundings, regardless who in office.
Mm-hmm. Amen.
I'm sharing this to my page right now.
Amen. You know, it's always some sort of scam going on. People are sick. There are some sick ass people out there, and they will, by any means necessary, they'll put that money in the you know, in the card reader thing or whatever, and be parked in a van or a car, you know, by the tire pump or whatever, just waiting to see who's going to touch it next, right? So that once you pass out, they swoop in and they take you never to be seen again. You know, there are some sick people. That's why I'm like, we really got to, you know, hone in and realize and get our spirits right, because people are sick spiritually. People are sick mentally. People are sick emotionally. And, you know, and it's sad, you know, it's so sad. So, you know, for those that, you know, pray, we got to stay prayed up, you know, even 10 times harder, you know, because the enemy is raw, you know, like scripture says, and they will try to come in any way, shape, or form.
So one of the things as we're going to change this energy, but one of the things is go out, don't buy them cheap plastic gloves, but go out there and buy some gloves that you keep in your car. And every time you go into Walmart or any large facility or whatever store, just take 2 of those gloves and put them in your back pocket. So if you come out to your car and you notice something, you just put those gloves on and do what you need to do. You understand? Because I had a note on my tire. I had a note on my car maybe a month ago. And I didn't think nothing about it. I pulled the note. It's at the mall. And at first I was going to do my windshield wiper, but I didn't. I got the Walgreens because I drove and I seen this note. And I was like, let me just do this. But I said, no. When I looked on it, it said, your right front tire is almost flat. And I looked, I was like, oh God, I had a slow leak. So that worked out, but it would have been better. And I have gloves, but I have batting gloves that I reused since COVID. I don't touch the pump. I don't touch the pump.
Oh yeah.
And I just started that back then because I didn't know what COVID was and this, that, and that. So I just continued. But you need the disposable gloves. So if you have to use it, then throw them away. You know how to take them off inside out. You know, hopefully you do that. But that's being part of prepared. That's preparedness. If we mention these things, then you got to come up with something, because you always got to be thinking, but we're not always thinking. I got to rush. I'm running late. I got to get here. And you see something and you just throw it off your car. And then by the time you get in your car, you done fainted. And this is real stuff that they can put out there. So when we put this information out, we should put it out, but also have, and if not, I'll do it, because I deal with the preparedness. And if I don't have it, I'll call Aton. That's part of being prepared. That's part of your equipment. Aton doesn't go anywhere without his bag. That bag goes with him wherever he goes.
Amen.
So he is not caught out there, because you never know when an emergency is going to happen. For instance, there's a movie out now, Homestead, and it talks about basically a nuclear weapon or America being attacked. And I just thought about this, how yesterday, I don't know if that was the breaking news that he didn't say what it was, but Israel attacked Yemen's airport.
Yeah.
And I just was thinking, I feel that we keep looking at a dirty bomb being exploded here. I think there's going to be a dirty bomb exploded in Israel. I don't have no inside facts. I don't come FBI come knocking at my damn door. I don't have no inside fact. It's just that there's people that hate Israel and they hate America, and they look at us as one. And if they can do a dirty bomb, they will do a dirty bomb. A dirty bomb is basically a nuclear bomb snuck in and exploded on our soil, or whoever soil they choose to try to do this out there. And whoever does that know the repercussions is going to be devastating, because anybody does that is it's a declaration of war. And then one of them small countries, they're going to get blown off the planet, and they will be blown off the planet. You messing with a superpower. So this is the repercussions, but these superpowers continue to mess with them, that they get fed up And they are like, I'm tired of living my life. So if I'm going to die and if my people are dying, so what the hell? Let me bring some other people down as well. So I'm just telling you, just be prepared and be conscious out there. That's the best way I can tell you.
Yeah, right. Great advice for team. And we talked about to-go bags before. So maybe it's a Friday. So maybe you guys can try to start to prepare your to-go bag, period. Bug out bag, to-go bag. So one of the first items you need, obviously, is what? A bag. So find an old book bag, backpack, duffel bag, something that's easy, that you can easily access. The first couple of
items. Got to be waterproof.
Yeah, exactly. Waterproof. Yep. The first couple of items to put in your bag, you can start out with a first aid kit. If you can't afford much, you can always get a first aid kit, even from the dollar store, a small little one, but if you can afford more, you can go to Walmart, Amazon, it's different prices. But for sure, get a first aid kit, get some batteries, and get a flashlight, right? We still want to go with some solar powered flashlights as well. But even if you get the batteries and the flashlight, so let's get a waterproof bag, first aid kit, and batteries and flashlights. If those are the first few things you can get for your bug out bag, and then next week we can build that out. So
and medicine, if you take medicine,
that's what I was about to say. Get you a Ziploc bag. The one thing most folks forget in an emergency is if they're on any type of, get you a Ziploc bag and put you in either a week's worth or a whatever time frame worth of medicine, that in case something happens, you have quick access to your medicine. Because a lot of folks that's where you're going to die from. Let's say that you need insulin. You don't have your insulin. That might be a problem. Listen, just be prepared. Like he said, Aton leaves with it. I keep a bag in my truck. A lot of folks like, I got a full gas mask,
Joe got a bag in his car with his badge on top of that.
Right. I ain't playing with it. In the car. Hold it. I got everything in that bag that is needed to take care of zombies, ghouls, and ninjas that are coming from out of here.
That's right, Joe. That's right. And you know what? Even with these to-go bags, we make light of it. But some sisters and some brothers may need to still have that to-go bag handy because some of the relationships they're in, right? I know my husband just even had a call the other day, when he was at work with a DV situation, over the holiday where people creep in and you trying to play house over here for Christmas in the morning, house in the evening, and people getting, folks was getting locked up, So, you never know what type of situations when you might have to flee. So, also have copies of your ID, any ID that you may have photocopies of that in your to-go bag as well. But like I said, we'll build out that bag, but we still need a bag for those that might be in a DV situation that are trying to prepare their next steps to leave as well.
So it's 30 minutes. We're at the bottom of the hour. I want to say this as we change the energy. Listen, y'all, I got 7 things I want to put out there since we're talking about Kwanzaa and everything. These are 7 things you may not want to adopt and move forward as you leave out of 2024 and go into 2025. Number 1, make peace with your past so it don't disturb your future. Number 2, what other people think of you, that's none of your business. That's their thoughts. Let them have them. The only person in charge of your happiness is you. Number 4, don't compare your life to others. Compare your life to yourself. Because understand that the thief of joy is comparison. Number 5, time heals almost everything. So just give it time. And number 6, stop thinking so much. It's all right not to know all the answers or not to know everything. And number 7, smile. You don't owe the world anything, and you don't own the world's problems. So just smile and be happy that you are who you are and that you are moving forward in the manner that you need to move forward. Don't let other folks measure you up, tell you what you're supposed to do, or tell you who you are. You do you and let them do them and keep it moving. That's all I got to say.
What number is comparison? What number is comparison?
Hold on. Let me get that back. Comparison. Yeah. Number 4, don't compare your life to others. Comparison is the thief of joy.
That's okay, right. So I'm gonna go there on that one. All of them I agree with. I can agree with this. No, I can't agree with this one. I don't. Because I think there's a negative connotation with it and a positive connotation. So the negative connotation is how it can when you compare yourself and become envious of it, That's where the thief, that's where I get it. But I also come back in a sense of how we look at other people's lives and how they're moving in a positive direction. How do you think people change? When we go to speak, Jax, you go to speak, Joe, you go to speak, I go to speak. When you go to people and you talk about this, Reverend Shelton talks about his life. When someone goes out there that has had a tough life and changed their life, people look back and say, if they can do it, I can do it.
Mhm.
I can do it. So they compare themselves not from a negative point of view, but from an inspirational and motivational point of view. That's why I have to disagree with that comparison, because I think we can turn that into something positive when we compare, because I'll give you an example. I compared my life to Bob Slade. Bob Slade was a master communicator. I am nowhere. He never had a tough time pronouncing words or whatever. M. Tume was great at his mindset and his mind and this, that, and the other. I compare myself to be better, not from an envious point of view, but from a proactive and productive way. I look at television, I listen to people words on in music or whatever. So yes, sometimes I do compare myself to individuals. Sometimes I've imitated individuals till I can find myself in there. You understand?
And
So
Brother
that's
Fatim,
why that one I just have. Yeah, that's why I wanted to go there.
Since you expounded on it, I think we could also say that even though these are just basic things that I read out, at the end of the day, comparison, when put in a state of competition, where there is envy and jealousy, that is not needed. That's what.
And I said that. And I said that.
You know, at the end of the day, yeah, it's good to aspire. It's a difference between aspirations and compare. You know, comparison when it comes down to competition and envy and jealousy, that you actually, damn. But you know, yeah, you can aspire. I get inspiration from your life, Brother Fatim. I get inspiration from Sister Jax. I get inspiration from people in the chat. I don't compare myself to them in some levels, because they have went on the journey they had to go on. Like I tell people, you want what folks want, but are you willing to pay the price that they paid to get what they got? And a lot of times the answer is 99.9% of the time, the answer is no. Because if you knew everything a person had to do to get to where they're at, you would be like, hell no, I'm good. I'm good right where I'm at.
That's right, Joe. And you know what a lot of people suffer from is simply self-imposed limitations, right? They put limits on themselves. Yeah, exactly. Yep. Fear, self-imposed limitations, where they say, you know what, I can't do it, right? And you know how it is. And yeah, exactly, Marcus Allen. Comparison and contrasting can both be good and bad. Absolutely. And when we think about competition, only one you should be really competing with is yourself, right? Compete with yourself. When you compete with yourself, like Joe said, maybe you could admire somebody. You can say, you know what, I would like to be able to get in shape like her, or I would like to be able to, build up my biceps like him, or, I would like to be able to move out of the hood and get a big house in the suburb, whatever. But like you said, the jealousy and envy part, because guess what? Sometimes people compare themselves to others so much that jealousy and envy monster starts to grow, right? And it's like the Native American proverb, like which wolf do you choose to feed? So if you're feeding the wolf of, the comparison and the jealousy and the envy, that's the wolf that's going to grow. And before you know it will take over. And once it takes over, like they say, green with envy, you'll be blinded, right? You'll be blinded, and you won't even really know how to authentically love, because you are so used to the comparison and the envy and the jealousy. So just everybody got their own lane. Stay in your lane, ride the hell out of that lane, and be the best rider, be the best rock kicker, be the best whatever it is that you're going to be. And don't worry about everybody else. Worry about what you can do, because only you can do it.
That's why we have to, good words, Jax, but that's why we have to, as parents and guardians, and instructors and educators have to, and I'm talking about educators, not from in a school perspective, I'm talking about us, is that we have to teach our children this. Because when my daughter was in 5th grade, I was the baseball guy. I was I played drums. So there was competition everywhere. I joined the band. It was 2 drummers, Garth Warner and myself. Garth was a better drummer than me, but I wasn't envious. I pushed myself to be as good as he was. Garth always stayed a step ahead of me because his brother played drums and this, that, and he was gifted. Some people are gifted, I had to work hard. I had to work hard at baseball. Some people were just gifted. I got there, but I had to put in years and years and years of hard work to become what became like this when I became the starter. But I remember my daughter trying out for the double dutch team in 5th grade, and there was a girl on the stage, and my daughter was confident in herself. She was like, "Daddy, I got this. I got this." Not overconfident, but there was a girl on stage. She said, "Oh, Daddy, that girl's good." Matter of fact, that girl was picking the teachers had that girl picking her team. That's how good she was. But my daughter said, she gave it to her. "Oh, that girl's good, Daddy. But I'm good too."
That's right.
I wanted her that confidence. My daughter went up there. She went to jump. Boom, messed up right off the bat. My heart, oh God, my daughter, but she got to do it herself. And she got back up there, did that, that rock. You all know, y'all girls know what that rock is. That rock to jump in there, you know what I'm saying? And she got in there, and she knocked it out. That girl picked us. Fatia's on my team. My team. And what we got to do is we got to teach them. But that's why when Wide World of Sports used to come on Channel 7 with Howard Cosell back in the day, they talked about victory, but they talk about the agony of defeat. And you sometimes have to go through defeat to become a better person. And you got to teach your people, your children and yourself that, because I've won a lot and I've also lost a lot.
That's right.
And it's made me a better person. It made me a better person, and it pushed me. I tell you, there's certain things that we use as fuel out there. And I tie this in to what the comments out there. Yes. And I know that Joe has some things to do after the first of the year. I don't know. Again, I'm on vacation. I don't really feel like producing a show. But if I could make a quick couple of calls while Joe is here, I want to bring on some young people to hear their perspective, since y'all mentioned that young people, because young people will change our conversation. Young people will change the energy in the room. And we got to listen to them at times. And remember, I told people before, in Star Trek had an episode where it was nothing but children. When I say children, Spock and them were there, but they landed on a planet where the children were just children. And you got to really understand that and go back and watch that episode to really understand it. But the children shall leave, but they have to be given the tools so they can leave.
That's right.
Okay.
Well, Brother Fatim, I want to say this, as we're still, it's 20 minutes to the top of the hour. This is something that I've learned. I learned this, and I want to give big props to two people. General Honore, Russell Honore, and General Marcus Hood. General Honore and General Hood taught me something. You can be in charge. Doesn't mean for the mission to succeed, you have to have the final word or the final orders. Because I have been in situations where, and I like to give big props right now. He had got in and got out to Staff Sergeant Fields. Staff Sergeant Fields and I, we served together in Somalia. I was the OIC, the officer in charge, but Staff Sergeant Field had more combat experience and knew more about being in combat than I ever knew. And even though he was my platoon sergeant and I was the platoon leader, I leaned to his leadership and his direction to get us into situations and out of situations. He didn't outrank me. He wasn't in charge, but he was the most knowledgeable person on the ground. And I had to realize that just because sometimes your rank and everything that is encompassed says that you the man, being the man is recognizing the men around you and the women around you and what strengths they bring to the table. And sometimes your weakest play is that you shouldn't be in charge, that you should do what your rank says, but lean on their judgment and their understanding. And Staff Sergeant Fields, to this day, I always told him, you are the captain in disguise. Your rank don't say captain, but you the captain in disguise. Because I wouldn't make one move without making sure that he approved it. I would actually go to him and say, man, this is our orders. What do you think? And he'll say, sir, we can do this, but we can maybe take this turn here. We won't evade our orders and still do this. That man saved lives. sometimes you got to know your position, play your position. And sometimes your position, even when you're in charge, is to hand that authority over to somebody else who knows more than you, even though they don't have the ranking, they don't have the title, but you know in your heart of heart, this man can lead us to victory better than I can. And sometimes you just got to humble yourself and say, hey, my team, there are people on my team that can do it better than I can, even though it's my team. No, it's my team. But guess what? He knows what he's doing. And let me lean to him to get this mission done, because if not, we're going to fail. And when I was in the military, some of the places I was at, failure meant death. And I always had, General Honore gave this to me, and I'm going to shut up. He gave me M3. Your mission, your men, and make it home. Your mission, your men, and make it home. He said,
Amen.
let me give it to you backwards. Make it home.
Amen.
He said, all that don't mean nothing if you don't make it home.
Right.
That's right.
So a title can go a long way, or a title could just be that is nothing but words.
Mm-hmm.
And it can just be your actions. And that's why it's so important that people acknowledge the proper people. You understand? Because there are other people that are leaders. And sometimes when you realize that they're the leaders, sometimes you got to step out of their way. You got to step out of their way. I remember real quick, and Gary, I see my man Gary Madison in here. He doesn't know this part, even though we play baseball. He was at Erasmus High School. Of course, we play Sandlot, Babani's together, but he played at Erasmus High School, where our brother that we had on, why is his name? Oh God, it's escaping me. And then I played at Weston House. And my coach called me to his room, because he was the shop teacher, Mr. Rosado. He was the baseball coach at that time. And he said, he didn't call me Fatim. Fatim wasn't my name. He's like, Stroman, I'm putting you in the cleanup spot. I'm like, over Eddie? Eddie's our cleanup hitter. You put me in the cleanup spot? I was the 5th or 6th hitter.
Oh.
Why are you putting me in the, Eddie ain't gonna deal with this. Eddie's not gonna deal with this. And he explained to me, I'm putting you in the cleanup spot because you're a line drive hitter. Eddie has power. You have power, but you're not that power hitter. With Eddie's power, he strikes out a lot. I need you to drive. You drive the ball, line drives into the gaps and whatever. So you, as that cleanup hitter, I need somebody that always gonna put that bat on that ball. I was like, okay, I'll deal with it. You deal with Eddie. You deal with Eddie. Even though he's the coach, you deal with Eddie, because we are family. He's the manager, and he was the manager. And when he said it went, but we still was a family when we went on that field. So if Eddie, mine is not there, then he doesn't perform.
That's right.
But Eddie took that in stride, because Eddie wound up going behind me. So he already had, so we were playing teams like Automotive, Eastern District in that division, because we came one game from a Yankee or Shea Stadium at the time. Shea Stadium was Shea Stadium, wasn't Citi Field. Van Buren beat us. Out of Queens beat us. We were surprised that Van Buren beat us. We upset New Utrecht, who was scheduled, was destined, they said on paper, to go to the city title that year. We beat them because they didn't throw their ace against us, and they put their ace in the 4th inning. We already had the game. We beat them in Bay A Street. And like Gary know, Bay A Street, white boys, white neighborhood. We're a black school. We had to get on that V8 bus and haul our ass out of there because we beat them in their home field.
Oh God.
Anyway, the point I'm saying is, when you become a team, communication is important, because you can hurt people's egos and humility doesn't come there and people can't perform. Joe talked about the battlefield. That's life and death. I'm talking about a game that we could play and go home and this, that, and other. So at times, that's why people need to be recognized, because you can mess up people's mindset, and because some people have titles and don't deserve those titles because they can't perform. And then there's some that have the title, but you have somebody on your team is better performer, but they're not a better leadership and can't distribute instruction. You got to realize one of the hardest things is to instruct people. Because for me, I'm not the greatest instructor, because I'd rather do it than instruct this person. He or she continues to get it wrong. I'll be like, I ain't got time to waste. I'll do it. That's not good, because then you only as strong as your weakest link. And if that person is a weak link and you not teaching him, then you become the weak link for not teaching that person.
Yeah, you're right. You know,
remember that.
It's so good you shared that. It's a conversation Joe and I had briefly, recently, because he and I are the same, and I know you're like that too. I don't care about a title. I don't care what job I had or what, I did. I had a duty and responsibility, but I'm not so caught up on titles. And it made me think when he and I had this conversation, and I shared with him, I remember we were at a, fundraiser, right? For Do It All, the rapper Do It All from Lords of the Underground. So at the end of the night, it was me, Do It All, the rapper Redman. We're all part of the team, right? And a couple other, ones were with us as part of the team. But after the fundraiser was over, Redman had a mop, Dude had a broom, Jax had a rag. We're all cleaning up. Yet everybody that was there would have thought, oh, at the end of the night, it's their fundraiser for whatever event. Redman gonna hop in a, whip and fly out somewhere, and Dude was gonna go somewhere. But no, we all were sweeping, mopping, cleaning the floors, cleaning the venue up, and nobody complained about it. Right? Because that's just what we do. So for me, I've always had the motto, if I see a need, I'm going to fill it. Right? That's just what I do. You see a need, you fill it to the best of your ability, and you don't complain about it. You just get it done. You just get it done. And if you don't have the ability to fill it, you have to learn how to delegate, because quite often we don't know how to delegate. And sometimes that's where the stress comes in, because you take on too much. So eventually we have to learn how to just say, you know what? This is a bit heavy for me, or it's too much, or I have a lot going on. Let me see if somebody else could do X, Y, Z.
Yeah. Let me just say,
sometimes you're afraid to ask for help.
Right.
Right. And I know we kind of get ourselves caught up in that. Like you said, Fatin, sometimes you rather just do it what you feel is the right way and get it done. But guess what? There's more than one way. And we sometimes just have to realize that. Go ahead.
One correction. You said you and Joe had this lightly discussion, and I probably know I'm a little different. Meaning that I'm a team player, and I'll get down and do that. I'm in the laundromat. I sweep up now. I sweep up in the laundry. I do those things.
Absolutely.
I'm not Roman Reigns from WWE. Acknowledge me like that. But I want to be acknowledged. If I did the work, I'm not talking about being acknowledged from an egotistical point of view. Acknowledge me. If Joe is a great radio host, Frankie Crocker, the late Frankie Crocker, was one of the best radio hosts that we met or heard on radio. Acknowledge what he is. If Jax is a good so-and-so, acknowledge them. Because when too many people look over you, it bothers you. You say it don't, but it bothers you, especially when you bust your ass to get where you get. You're not doing it to get the accolade, but don't overlook me for what I've done. And I think people don't got to understand that. It's just give their people their just due, because a lot of them are doing it from their heart. And that's why I take the moment to say, hey, Joe, great job. Sister Jax, great job. Because yes, we'll get down, we'll do whatever we have to do because we're team players. I agree with that. But also acknowledge people for what they do, because they are appreciated, and appreciation goes a long way, especially when people put in that hard ass work. So that's when I say that I agree with you there about from an egotistical point of view. But if I deserve that title, acknowledge me, but not acknowledge me from a point of building my ego. Acknowledge me for the hard work and understanding what I have done to get where I'm at, and appreciate the work I have done. That's what I will say.
And I'm going to say this, Brother Fatim and Sister Jax. Here's what I've learned. This is just Joe talking for Joe. I look back now, especially at the last 5 years of my life, and I am thankful that there have been times that I know I gave from the heart, did it from the heart, moved in a way that was righteous and pleased the Most High. Hey, Apollos. And I didn't get recognized. I didn't get recognized. I'm glad I didn't get recognized. I'm glad I didn't get recognized by some of the folks I felt owed me recognition, because in doing so, it built up a character in me that's no longer needed. And sometimes I believe the Most High puts you uncomfortable places where you realize what you thought you needed is not what you need. You know, I look at that right now. I was laughing. I just got up and walked into the front room. My better half, who works for the post office, is off for a season. And you know, I had the opportunity to say to myself, because of the uncomfortable places we were put early, we are now able to reap the benefits of sometimes saying, you know what, we didn't need to buy that. We didn't need to do that
Mhm.
because we were put in some uncomfortable places that did not feel good. Understand that in the process of life, one thing is always going to be constant: change. Also understand there's three things that you can never get back once they're gone: land, because they
Mhm.
ain't making no more land;
Mhm.
time, because you ain't producing no more time; and life. So understand how precious those three commodities are. Own you some land,
Mhm.
guard the time, and respect life. That's all I gotta say.
And you know
I'm
what,
done.
Fatim? I think
Mhm.
to a degree, I'm kind of maybe on the other end of the spectrum. I guess because how my faith is set up to a degree, right? So yes, it's great to be acknowledged, so on and so forth. But for me, I honestly really don't care too much about that part of it because I set my affection on things above, right? So even if I'm not acknowledged in the world, I know on the back end how God is blessing me, changing me, blessing my family, blessing my friends, and blessing my finances, and just looking out for me and making a way. So for me, even when I don't get that public acknowledgement for something that I did, God always shows me, girl, I got you. Keep on following me, and I got your back. And so for me, that is so much more priceless. You know what I mean? Like, I mean,
I get that. That's you. But I
yeah,
think that
exactly. That's me.
I'm speaking to everybody, and
Yeah.
that's your belief, but that's the hereafter. We here.
No,
And
not just the
no, I know,
hereafter.
I
I mean,
got you. No, I
yeah,
understand. But I'm just talking about that's you. But
uh-huh,
we all physically on this damn plane and
mhm,
earth do this. And I'm going to acknowledge you, just like when I brought you an open line. I ain't
mhm,
worrying about your hereafter. I ain't worrying about your faith on that. I respect it. I
mhm,
acknowledge what you've done because we interact physically with one another.
absolutely.
That's why
And I
now it may
appreciate
not be
that.
important to you,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
for
No, I
me,
appreciate that.
I pay
Mhm,
respect to people and acknowledge them because to me, it's worth it. Because when you acknowledge people, you give the opportunity for others to see the works that they have done that can help inspire and motivate and acknowledge the works that you have done. That's
yeah,
where I'm coming from.
yeah, no,
That's
absolutely. And you know, it's funny because, and I know we're all like this. The one acknowledgement that we get publicly, there's 10,000 things that we don't have done in secret that nobody knows about, right? So for me, I just try to store up those, things. I mean, so often people come to me and say, sis, you were the first one to help me get into a fashion show, or you were the first one to help me get into a magazine, or the first one to do whatever it is. And I'm telling y'all, my memory is jacked up, but 9 times out of 10, I have totally forgotten because I just, like I said, if I see a need, I feel it. Right. So if somebody comes to me, I'm going to try to find a viable solution for them so that they can get to the next level. And then after that, I forget about it. So people come to me all the time, reminding me of what I've done for them that I really have no recollection. Even on the show just now, when you mentioned the thing with Casey being on open line, I totally forgot about that. You know what I'm saying? Like when you first started saying that, I was like, I don't, I literally like forgot because I just see a need. You said you needed somebody. I knew somebody who had some issues. So I said, let me bring somebody that could shed light and try to help somebody else out. But I forget the stuff because when you get into a vein of just doing it so often, you don't remember everybody that you've helped. So for me, I know God is watching every step that I make. So I'm just so blessed that whatever I do and he can impart, extra blessing on my end, whether it's healing or preventing me from getting in an accident when I go outside, I'm thankful. And even if I did get in an accident when I went outside, I wouldn't say, where was God? I still know he still has my back through it all.
Somewhere in all of this, this is where I stand. This is where I stand.
Mhm.
I read somewhere, be it good
Oh,
or be it bad, it works together for them who love the Lord. So
yeah.
that's why I stopped giving the enemy so much credit. I do understand he exists. I understand there are demonic spirits out there, but
Right.
no matter what happens in my life, be it good or be it bad, it was all working toward a grander purpose sometimes to be a blessing to someone else that I may never see in my lifetime. But at the end of the day, that's just where my faith is at. So I just
Gotcha.
believe that it all works together. And I'm so happy that it's working together for my good,
That's right.
regardless
Gotcha.
if it's good or bad.
Let me just say, Marcus Allen, brother, you always sometimes push the envelope, and a lot of folks in the chat, and sometimes we zero in on people. Marcus Allen, you put something that made me think, and that's not where I was going. He put, jealousy is the worst emotion we can have.
Oh yeah, that's true.
Jealousy is the worst emotion we can have, a person can have. So, Marcus, as soon as you said that, I said, okay, what about envy? Envy. So I looked at, I like to zero in on them. So you made me think, brother. You made me think on them, and they both. So it depends on the perspective. So let's go into jealousy. Jealousy may be seen as worse because it often involves another person and can lead to toxic behaviors in relationships. Envy, however, can fester internally and corrode a person's self-worth and unhappiness over time. Ultimately, both emotions can be destructive if not managed properly, but they can also serve as signals to address deeper insecurities or unmet needs. Recognizing and confronting these feelings constructively can lead to personal growth. Now, I gave you the summary of it. Of course, they break down jealousy, the definition, the emotional impact, and the potential consequences, and they do the same thing with envy. I just spared all that, going through all that, and just got to the summary of it. But thank you, Brother Marcus, because it makes you think. And I like to think, and I like to, just like when people say, we need to put some younger people on here, and we talk it, we need to do it. And that's what we need to do, and hear their perspective and have that conversation on a lot of things. There's some young people that I want to bring on. That there's a young lady, and there's some young brothers. If I don't know how to, I'm trying to reach them because I don't know them. And they deal with music, and they play some of the older music from back in the day, and they listen to the lyrics, and they ask, what in the hell has happened? How do you go from that type of music, substance music, to where we're at today? Young people. You think that's why I don't say always old school. I say good school music now. I don't say old school, because when you say old school, it's like older people, older this, older that. Good school music, good school. I listen. If I have to listen to Benny Goodman, or because Benny Goodman, even though he was white, he did a lot of good jazz. You understand? Cab Calloway. I listen. Ella Fitzgerald. All these people, I don't just categorize as old, because if we take that away, what about tap dancing? You brought on the brother of Savon Glover, but we don't have the tap dancers out here, or if they are, we're not giving them the platform. Tap dancing was an art. It's almost a dying art in our community. You understand what I'm saying? But if you allow that to be old school and not good school, then you discard it. Bull crap. I'm not discarding it, but let young people come on here and tell adults about that. Let the young people tell other young people, what you listening to ain't it. Ain't it. Not us, because they'll say, oh, you too old, you not this, you not that. We were at the family function. They put on the new schools. I watch the young people. Hey.
I'm hanging out.
All right. He put on Blurred Lines and some old school and older or good school music. The whole house got up and started rocking. Whole house got up. And that's the difference. We go to the younger people rocking and got cell phones at functions. Back in the day, we heard that, we got up and we communicated and we got on that dance floor. So let the young people have this conversation instead of us sometime. Let them tell their perspective of what they hear, what they see, and let's talk about it. And let's don't discard the young people that are doing the music and do listen to today's music and do enjoy it. Let's bring them on for a discussion, because I think that when they are the next leaders or the leaders now, we have to have the conversation with them, because we don't know where the conversation will go.
1 minute past the top of the hour. We can go a little bit over. And since you're talking about young folks, let me give a shout out from yesterday. I forgot to give to the Texas Southern University drum majors for being a part of that glorious halftime performance with Beyonce and Texas Southern, the Ocean of Soul, the band itself. that performed certain members of it with Beyonce at that great halftime performance as the Texans, Houston Texans, took on the Baltimore Ravens, which Baltimore came victorious once again. Lamar Jackson, MVP. That's all I got to say about that. But, big ups to at HBCU, Texas Southern. Beyonce has featured HBCUs in a lot of her performances. Coachella, her famous Coachella performance had Southern University and the Southern University Dancing Dolls in it. So just big ups to HBCUs out there representing big time. And the Lipinzana Stallions that start out black and wind up white that she rode in on. That's all I got to say.
Nice. So what y'all doing this weekend? Anybody got any good plans? What's happening?
New Orleans. I'm headed to the Big Easy, baby. I'm in the Big Easy. We in the Big Easy for day before New Year's Eve, and New Year's Day. I'm in the Big Easy. I'm in
nice.
The Big
what
Easy.
About you, Fatine? What chicken you flying through this weekend?
I don't know what hen house I'm gonna be laying eggs in. I don't know what.
The fox is about to get loose.
I'm start seeing the eyes go up in the chat in a minute.
It's about to get loose.
Nah, I'm just chilling. I'm just chilling. Like I said, I really winding down, like I said, a lot of times we did a lot with family this weekend. Thanksgiving, I had my daughters down. And then, like I said, the second wave of vacation is about me. So if I want a movie, if I want to lay around, if I want to do this, that's what I'm going to do. I got to finish a book. These little things that I need to do for myself, just because as soon as I snap my finger, we're back into the hustle and the bustle, you know what I'm saying? So that's all I'm saying.
Hey, I got to put this out there. Y'all pay attention to this. I'm just throwing it out there quick. Judge denies dismissal from Jay-Z over these allegations. He denied the dismissal. Y'all better pay attention. Pay attention. Pay attention. That's all I got to say. Pay attention.
Pay attention.
Yeah. Did y'all see, Eddie Bonnet put up that last night I was able to watch 6888. Wow. I saw somebody wrote in 6888 that they watched it and they were in tears. A young lady that comes on when I say comes on, she's in the chat. Sister Cheryl, and she said she was in tears. I told her I wasn't in tears, but of course the moments in there. Did y'all see that? I mean, if y'all ain't see 6888, I'm upset at y'all. Oh man, I'm upset at y'all.
I've been preparing. Sadly, I have had other things I've been doing, but I do plan on before the 13th of January watching 6888, and people are applauding Tyler Perry, saying that this is one of his best works. So once again, I think I encourage everybody. I haven't seen it yet. I'm going to.
We're gonna have a little talk about it right now, Joe.
Yeah.
Sorry, we ain't going.
Go ahead.
It's just about. I think that and I mentioned this before last week.
Mm-hmm.
I mentioned when we first promoted it, and then I watched it, and I applaud Tyler for grabbing this story, and the reason why I applaud him because he grabbed the story that a lot of us didn't know about. And there's a book out there as well. There's a book out there that he's doing this story over. And it's fascinating of what our soldiers, but to see the female branch, the Black female branch. Kudos to Oprah in there, because and what and the role she played as an activist. There are famous. My mind is all over the place, so I can't call the name. Somebody put it in the chat. But her having a relationship, like Dr. King had a relationship with the White House. Mary McLeod Bethune, that's who she played.
Yeah, that they named the university after in Florida.
Right. And I have a picture because I stayed at the hotel when I was in this for the 60th anniversary for the March on Washington. Right around the corner from my hotel, and I happened to walk somewhere, and the house, not her house, but whatever her organization house is there, and they had the plaque outside and everything. But she had a relationship with the president, And and you see the racism there. And that's why I said you need to know these stories, because when you continue to see these stories, you understand who our brothers and sisters were, what they endure, and have we picked up from where they left off, even though we may not be living in that quote unquote Jim Crow or whatever. And just to see what they've done, and then to be acknowledged by only by the black soldiers, but the white soldiers of what they did for male. You thinking about combat, but the morale for dealing with the male. And then at the end, what Tyler did, oh my God, I just kudos. And I'm trying to do this right now for Open Line, is try to get in touch with one of the young ladies that's still alive. She's 100 years old, and she's on there. And let her tell the story. Yep. So let her tell her story, you know, with Kerry Washington and Tyler. I'm going to reach out to all of them, because this is so significant that we need to be talking about this on a consistent basis and thriving, telling people, just like we told people to watch Jamie Foxx or watch this or watch that. We should be telling people to watch 68888, the 68888.
That's right.
The 68888 on Netflix. Eddie Bonnet, thank you for putting that in the chat. If you haven't seen it, because if you haven't seen it by the new year, where's your black card? Give me your black card. You know,
that's right.
You
and for
you
those
understand?
that don't have Netflix, it's only like $16 or something like that, you know, for the month, you know, for Netflix. So if you can afford it, you know, even if you just got it and then cancel your subscription, there are some good movies on there, but definitely 68888, you're right, Fatim, was a really, really good film. I can't wait. You guys know I was visiting my great uncle at the nursing home last week. So he was in World War II. So I cannot wait to go see him this week to have that conversation with him about it. So whenever I'm with him, I always record some stuff he talks to me about. He always gives great advice. He gave my children some advice and me some advice. And, you know, I just love soaking in that knowledge. You know, he's 99 years old, going on 100 next year. And Lord's will, you know, so I can't wait to share that story, because I know he would know how those black women got in there to even get him some of his mail. You know, so
right.
And don't forget to watch the Tuskegee. If you haven't seen the Tuskegee Airmen, go back and watch that. That should be out there on, let me see, I'm looking at it now. It's on Max, it's on YouTube, but it's all subscription: Hulu, Sling, Amazon Prime, Google Play, Apple TV, Fandango, at home. Tuskegee Airmen. That's another one. If you want to see a little bit of combat with the brothers, go out there and watch that as well. Watch both of them, man, and go into 2025 with a bang, baby.
You see the adversity that we faced serving a country, protecting a country that at the time did not recognize us as equals. You know, as a person who served in the military, I look back and I completely, with admiration and with a lot of humility, understand that I wouldn't be where I was at in the military had it not been for those who were the forerunners that came before me. You know, my father, who served, who went and served as an Army sniper, but came back to be a sharecropper. Understand, you really don't know what we went through back in the 1900s, all the way up to the end of World War II, as black and brown folks who served this country and had to come back and be second-class citizens. I'm just saying that, and I'm not trying to be ugly. I'm not trying to make a point. I'm just saying sometimes you really have to realize that we have come a very long way, and it has been on the backs of our ancestors who made clear that their future generations would not go through what we went through. And you got to look at Sister Mary McLeod Bethune, who was born in South Carolina, and was one of the instrumental people to say, we've got to get an institution to teach our people what they need to be taught. And she founded Bethune-Cookman University. She founded the National Council of Negro Women. Come on now. This woman was about the business of we've got to take care of our own. And we've got to recognize and remember those who came before us and not act like they weren't there. We wouldn't be where we at today if it wouldn't been for the hard work of our ancestors. Period.
Mm-hmm. Amen. Amen.
Sister Jackson, I'm writing something.
Yeah, so I mean, it's been a great show, y'all. It's
Yeah.
I ain't ready to go. I ain't ready to go now. So I didn't say close out.
It's the balls of some damn body.
It's 12 minutes.
I ain't ready to go.
Minutes,
Shit.
12
he said we could do overtime.
Yeah, we did 15 minutes.
Oh,
we did. See, just like to be on here talking shit. That's all it is to me.
So with that being said, while Brother Fatim is writing, Sister Jackson, if you would like, give us some closing words. This is we'll be back Monday and Tuesday. We will be back the day before New Year's Eve and New Year's Eve, and then we're going to take a break. We're going to take a break for a minute. Not long. We're just going to take a break, and then we'll do a week, and we'll kind of let y'all know what's going on. So with that being said, Sister Jax, bring it in.
Can I close my Brother Fatim? I mean,
you go ahead. You go ahead. Go ahead.
Okay, he gave permission. Father, that's gonna be his name, Father Fatim. That's his damn name. Father.
We're gonna start playing some of that Catholic music.
That ain't happening.
Yeah. Okay, so look, y'all, it was a great show. It was great to chat with everybody. If nobody told you today they love you, who loves y'all? Y'all already know. Shut up. My daughter's upstairs laughing because she was sitting here the other day when the computer and everything was shut down, and she was pretending like she was me. She was like, if somebody didn't tell you they love you. So, I got to text it to you guys, Joe, because I recorded it. She just sat here randomly and was acting like she was me on the show. So anyway, I'm not going to go into what I was going to read initially to close. So I just want to say, everybody, if you celebrate the Sabbath, honor the Sabbath, Friday sundown, Saturday sundown, happy Sabbath to you guys. Shalom, peace, most high in Christ, bless to you all. I love you guys. Be safe out there. Make sure this weekend, if you choose to try to get your to-go bags, your bug-out bags in preparation for a disaster or to dip out on somebody. So what did we say? We said get your waterproof backpack, duffel bag, whatever type of bag you need. Make sure you get copies of your ID if you can. Also get a first aid kit, batteries, and flashlight, at least to get started. And also zip it up your medication. And while you're zipping up your medication, you guys could also always go online to find some natural remedies. Because if you end up having to be out in the wilderness, your house gets blown up, anything crazy jumps off, and you cannot get to the pharmacy to get your medication, or your government, benefits get shut down for whatever reason, and you can't get your medication, you still need to find the thing closest to it to survive, as opposed to going totally cold turkey. So God put everything on this earth for us to live and to thrive and survive off of. So we just got to tap back into nature and tap back into the Most High and find out what that is we need to do. So love y'all, be safe, and have a blessed weekend. Peace out.
Brother Fatim.
Good advice, Sister Jax. Like she said, be prepared. You never know if your house is going to blow up or burn down. You just never know. So
shut up, Fatim.
This dude here.
Oh, Lord. You know me. Let's don't forget, today is the second day and the second principle of Kwanzaa, which is what? Kuchijakalia. And that means self-determination. Okay. So today I want to leave you with these words where we have taken. Oh, there go Joe pushing buttons again. Here we go.
I'm sorry.
If he put us all up on the screen, he won't be pushing damn buttons.
Yeah, I will. Yeah,
no, you wouldn't.
Mistakes happen, Mr. Perfect.
Ain't no damn mistake. You shouldn't be pushing buttons. You should be ready. But anyway, let me just say. I swear. Damn it. Get me cussing this morning in, man. Jesus.
Look, Fatim, that's what my father says. Don't get my nigga up.
Yeah, right, boy. You know me. I turn this hat back. I turn this hat around in a minute. You know that. But the day where we taking a deep dive into the incredible impact we can have on life and the enduring power of storytelling through film, as we reflect on the legacy of the Tuskegee Airmen, which I brought up, and the remarkable bravery of the 688, we are reminded that history isn't just a record of the past, it's a call to action for the present and the future. Remember that. These stories show us the strength of unity, the courage of conviction, and the transformative transformative power, and perseverance. I always mess up that word, perseverance. In the face of adversity, they challenge us to honor their sacrifice by asking ourselves, how will we make an impact? How will we contribute to shaping a better world? As we go off today from hashtag Truth Be Told, let's carry forward the spirit of excellence, courage, and resilience that these heroes and sheroes embody. Remember, your story, your voice, and your actions matter more than you may realize. Together, let's continue to inspire, educate, and uplift one another, one conversation at a time. So until next time, stay true, stay bold, and keep telling the truth. Of course, you know who this is. This is Brother Fatim.
That part, family. Listen, on this Freedom and Fun Friday, as we go into the weekend, the last weekend of 2024, whatever it is that you're dealing with, whatever it is that you're going through, trust the God in you, trust the Most High above you, that you'll make it through. Learn to let go and let God. Learn to release whatever needs to stay in 24 and let it stay in 24 and move forward with great things in 2025. Understand you control what happens next. Not what folks say, not folks' opinion, not what might rub you the wrong way. You control it. You control what you allow to come into your ears, what you see with your eyes, and what you allow to come out your mouth. You control that. Be better today than you were yesterday. Do something today to bless somebody in some way, somehow, that there's no earthly way they could ever pay you back, because you gave it not for yourself, but for them to be a better person. And always remember that there is no secret, absolutely no secret, what God can do, what he has done for others. He will and he can do for you. For when God is with you, nothing or no one can stand against you. Y'all be blessed. Have a great weekend. Have a great Friday. We'll see you back on Monday for Make It Happen Monday. On the behalf of myself, Sister Jax, Brother Fatim, we are hashtag Truth Be Told, and we out. Peace.
May ask, where is your God? With so much trouble going on, is he even here? Well, I don't know what tomorrow holds, but I know who holds tomorrow, so I don't have to fear. God, I know you can. God can. And I know, yeah, you'll do. Yeah, just what every word. God, I know you can. Yeah, you'll do. Just what say. As soon as I stop worrying how the story ends, when I let go and I let God have his way, that's when things start happening. When I stop looking at back then, when I let go and I let God have his way. I couldn't seem to fall asleep. There was so much on my mind, searching for that peace, but the peace I could not find. So then I kneeled down to pray, praying, Lord, help me please. Then he said, you don't have to cry, 'cause I'll supply all your needs. As soon as I stop worrying how the story ends, when I let go and I let God That's when things start happening. When I stop looking at back then. I let go and I let God. I let go. So let go and let God. 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 Oh, let go and let God. Let go and let God. Oh, let go and let God. Let go. Let go and let God. Oh, let go. Let go and let God. Let Him work it out. Yeah, let go and let God. Let go and let God. Let Him have His way. He can fix it, yes He can. He can mend it, yes He can. Yeah, let go. Hey, my brother, my sister, cast your cares upon Him. He can and He will. Let Him do what He does because He does it well. He's able. Yes, He can. No weapon formed against Him will be able to prosper because God is. He's everything you need and so much more. Yeah. Soon as I stop worrying, give it to Jesus. He's able to see. Cast your cares upon Him. Yeah, He cares for you. And I let God have His way.